This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. But I have a beautiful Toronto background behind me because I will be attending Frightmare in the Falls the end of next month and assisting Lisa Langlois at that event. That will be fun. But in the meantime, I'm chatting with somebody today that's located someplace that I've never interviewed anybody from before. I'm talking about Budapest, and we're also talking about films like Don't Breathe, which I have here on Blu-ray, and it's got the gorgeous Jane Levy in it. Well, we got the woman that played her mom in the film, who's on better behavioral standards here in this interview than she was in the film. Well, folks, I have the lovely, the beautiful Katia Bokor. Did I get that right?
Katia Bokor.
Okay. All right. I've never seen. I should ask, where does that name originate?
It's a Hungarian name. The first name is Russian, Katya, and the last name is Hungarian, Bokor, which means bush, actually.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
it's Katya Bush.
there you go. Well, I'm located in Fredericton, New Brunswick, so I'm so used to interviewing people that are behind me, but you're ahead of me by 5 hours.
That's correct.
And nobody knows where New Brunswick, the province of New Brunswick in Canada is. Because we're 1 hour ahead of the New York time zone. Nobody knows where we are. Do you know where we are? Probably not. Of
Probably
course you
not.
Of course not. Well, you know what? I've never interviewed somebody in Budapest before. And every time now I think of Budapest, I think of the Grand Budapest Hotel. Uh, and Ralph Fiennes screaming at the top of his lung, "Take your hands up, my lobby boy."
Oh, you really know your films.
I do. I do. I enjoyed that one. Um, you had the Grand Budapest Hotel there. Do you have Ralph Fiennes in his lobby boy there?
Well, as far as I know, that film was actually not shot in Budapest, but don't quote me on that. So they do shoot lots of projects here.
Yeah, they just took the name. But anyway, before we get into talking about Don't Breathe and some of your other projects, I would like to get a little bit. By the way, I love your hair. You beautiful hair. You're welcome. Um, I would like to get some of your background and what led you to get into acting.
Well, I was originally a professional ballerina.
Hmm.
So I studied at the Bolshoi Ballet School and the Hungarian Dance Academy. I graduated, I danced, and then I decided that I wanted to go to Los Angeles and become an actress. So I studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. I had a scholarship there, first from Hungary, then from the institute itself. And then after a while, it took me a while because I'm a foreigner to get my papers. So then I started working as an actress. And one of my first jobs was on The Shield. I had a recurring role. And I spent 12 years in LA, and then I came back to Budapest, and now I've been here. And Breathe was shot in Budapest, even though I played alcoholic, drug addict.
Don't Breathe was shot there?
Yes, most of it.
Okay.
Some parts are shot in Denver, but most of it was shot in Budapest.
Okay.
They built us a trailer.
What brought you back to Budapest?
Well, I had a job, still have it actually, where I traveled to Europe, and on one of these occasions from all the European cities, I actually went to Budapest and I met the father of my children. So we were doing long distance for a year, and then he said, well, there's so many films shot in Budapest as well. Why don't you try your career here in Budapest? So, and while I was trying my career in Budapest, I managed to produce 2 children. So that kind of kept me here.
Okay. Nope, nothing. You know what's funny? Because I've lived here in Fredericton, New Brunswick my whole life. I right now landed a job in Toronto and I can't seem to get there. I mean, I'm going there for a week for a convention, but it's like I couldn't believe, like apartment scammers and I thought it was just a matter of me packing up my stuff in a U-Haul and going down there, but everything has gotten in the way and they're still holding it open for me, so fingers crossed. But at least I'm still working here. I work as a cleaner here, so I work through the bug and all that stuff. But I do this because I enjoy it. And I saw Don't Breathe in the theaters, and I remember when I went to saw it because I remember the first time I saw Jane Levy was in a little film called Fun Size, and I just thought, man, she's a really cute little redhead, and then she shows up in this, and I loved her in this film because it's like, she's playing, of course, a heroine. People like to talk about final girls in movies, and I never really call somebody a true final girl unless they're doing it themselves.
Okay.
And well, like Sigourney Weaver and Alien, it was really down to her.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I hate it when they call them a final girl, but yet they had help of one or two or three other people. So to me, a strong heroine is one that just steps up. They have no choice but to get themselves out of their situation. And that was Sigourney Weaver in Alien. It was certainly Jane Levy here. And of course, you play the mom in the film who is not the best mom in the world. I bet you're probably fabulous, though. I don't have kids myself. I just have a cat. I do well to take care of a cat. You're probably so much better than your screen mom on there.
Yes. Well, the screen mom wasn't that nice. Yes.
Talk about getting cast in the film.
Uh, well, one more time, excuse me.
Talk about being cast in the film.
Oh, well, that was interesting because I just actually had my second child at that point, and I was really, really tired because she was just a baby. And when I went in and I put my makeup on, I was so tired. I was like, I certainly look the part. So yeah, I mean, it started out they were just saying it's like a small horror film. So I didn't even put too much meaning to it. I did the casting, and then all of a sudden it got picked up by Sony Pictures, and all of a sudden it's like a box office film. So it kind of like, to me, out of nowhere became a success.
Yeah, I saw the second one too, but did you see the second one?
I didn't.
Well, I had a bit of an issue with the second one because they turned the blind man in this film into the anti-hero in the second one, which and I'm not the first one to say this, it irks you a little bit when you know what he was doing in the first film, you
Mhm.
know? Yeah, and you sympathize with him up until you find out what he was doing,
Exactly.
you know? Um, No, I enjoyed the film. I loved it, it starts off and he just dragging her down the street and it goes what led up to that, and what a what a harrowing experience. And of course Fetty I'm gonna get his name Alvarez. I think I got that. Directed the film. Been doing quite well, and of course he did this one. Any stories about working with him?
Well, I mean, even though my character is like a very important character in the storyline because I'm the reason that she does all this, everything that she does, because she just wants to get away from me. Actually, it was just a 1 day shoot. So, I met him. He was very kind. He gave good directions, uh, and in and out. I
I
believe he's back
Yeah.
to Budapest. He's been working here again on another project, but I didn't audition for that one. It's a kind of, they send you in for characters that you are right for. They mostly bring all the actors from the US or from the UK, and then the smaller parts they cast from Budapest.
Well, you had a good part in this film, even despite that, because despite being a smaller part, because I certainly remember you in it. And yeah, and of course, like I said, Jane Levy played a good, solid uh, female role in this. Uh, what was it like working with her? I really liked her in this film, and it's really got me kind of watching what else she's doing.
Okay. Well, she was very into the character. So I wouldn't say that it was like method acting that she wouldn't even speak to me, but she was very concentrated and very committed and very much about creating the right character, the right mood. I don't know if you remember the little girl, Emma.
Hmm.
That was like her first ever movie. And I remember her personally because I thought she blew everyone's mind. I mean, she was like 5 years old, first movie ever, and it was so real. So I think that whole scene between them, it's really lovely.
Oh wow, I love hearing that, I remember at 5 years old, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't even want to go to kindergarten. So it amazes me when there's somebody at 5 years old that ambitious, and displays that much talent. What do you mean Jane might have not wanted to be around? You're the one your character had the booze. Of course she wanted to be around.
My boyfriend wanted the booze. I only shared
Oh,
with my boyfriend.
oh. Make an exception for Jane?
Nah, bad mom.
I know you weren't in the rest of the film, but did you get to meet Stephen Lang, who played, of course, the antagonist?
Yeah, I didn't, no, because as I said, it was one day shoot. And here in Budapest, you get a lot of these. So you're just like in and out, in and out. You can't really, it's not like in Los Angeles or where you can actually make a living being just like an, one day actor. Like I personally do dialect coaching on film a lot. I'm a Russian dialect coach because I speak Russian and I help Hungarian actors to speak with an American accent. So I'm always in the industry. But if I
Hmm.
was only doing the acting, I wouldn't be able to support my kids.
Yeah. Well, for a smaller, actually, I'm going to say the first time I recall really noticing Stephen Lang was in a little underrated comedy called The Men Who Stare at Goats. He's the first thing you see in the movie. Yeah, it's a funny movie, and he's got a funny role in it. I really liked him in that, and I liked him in this. Um, when you have a smaller part like you do in Don't Breathe, some people could look at that and consider it kind of a write-off, but not everybody. When you got your role in it, what did you bring to it that you were able to did you construct a backstory or anything like that you thought that might provide more depth to your performance?
Well, I studied at the Lee Strasberg Theatre Institute, which is like method acting. So
Hmm.
what worked for me is I had a personalization for my daughter.
Hmm.
Um, I spoke to her as I was speaking to a woman who I really disliked, or I had similar feelings and sort of this attachment that this woman feels. So that's mostly what I used. And sense memory of being drunk and on, no, I'm not on drugs, but I'm drunk. He's the drunk for drugs and everything.
Hmm.
Everyone's been drunk once. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just basically what I did and followed the instructions that the director was giving me.
Well, I know you had before we get to your behind the scenes films, because I got one of them right here on Blu-ray with me as well. But I know you made appearances, often uncredited, in other films, like World War Z. Uh, I did see that in the theater. Anything you got to say about that film?
Okay, well, that was a sad story, World War Z, because World War Z, it had an entire storyline that is
Hmm.
set in Moscow. And I was a Russian uh, worker underground in the mines. So the whole storyline, which is approximately 2 months of shoot, was cut from the movie. So that's why I'm uncredited on that one, because I never made the screen.
That's
A lot
disappointing.
of people made it. Really big Russian actors didn't make it. So it's just that storyline in the end was cut.
Well, one that I haven't seen because we didn't get it here, but I interviewed somebody from it, is The Hunter's Prayer. I've interviewed Graham Slater, who's
Okay.
yeah, a UK actor. Somebody was throwing some talent at me in 2017. He had suggested I interview Graham Slater, and I had him on the show. Terrific actor. He told me often said he looked like a young Donald Pleasance, and you know what? That is true. He does kind of, you know. But I had him on from Hunter's Prayer. Now, again, I haven't seen this one, but do you want to talk about your character in it?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
And
you
that
haven't
was
seen? Okay.
and that was really a very tiny part. So if you want to go into stuff where actually that were cool and I'm recognizable and people call me like I saw you, that was great, it's not going to be that one.
Okay. Well, I want to also mention the Munsters. You get to work
Yes.
with Rob Zombie. What was that like?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun. That was interesting because I auditioned for one part, and then I got the part, and COVID came. So we thought a lot of projects stopped at that point, and I think maybe a year later, my agent calls and he's like, they're up and running again, but they want you to see you for a different part. So I auditioned for the other part as well, which was even funnier. So and I got it. So that was really fun.
Yeah, I like it too. Some people complain about this, but I'm going to compliment it. I love the fact that he always cast Sherry Moon Zombie, because I mean, I'd complain if he didn't. I love Sherry Moon. Did you
I
what?
sweet,
Yeah,
you know.
I like
I
her.
told everyone I wish I had a husband like that.
I think it's awesome because it shows what kind of relationship they have.
Yeah,
Yep. Like
and it's not like think somebody horrible. So it's like she's perfect in the parts he casts her in. So
oh, I like her. I love Sherry Moon Zombie. It's just like back in the day, like Brian De Palma was married to Nancy Allen, and he had her in one of my favorite thrillers, Dressed to Kill, and she was great in it. So yeah, did you watch The Munsters when you were young?
I know I didn't.
No. But that and
No,
the Addams Family,
no.
people always intertwine.
I did watch a couple of episodes when I was auditioning for it, so I know the style,
Hmm.
but I did not grow up with it. I mean, I didn't grow up in the US. I mean, I
Well,
went to LA when I was 24.
well, I gotta bring up because you were a Russian dialect coach in this. I like this film a lot, a ton of
Yes.
lot. I interviewed Tony Johnson, is it? Am I going to screw his name up? I hope I didn't. I interviewed somebody that worked on this film,
Okay.
and yep, and it's gonna kill me if I got that name wrong, but nonetheless, wasn't one of the actors, but nonetheless, when I watched this, number one, Charlize Theron so good in this film, but I'm going to say this: what nostalgia! I'm very much drawn to nostalgia in films, and the music in this film, the soundtrack. Yeah, and Tony Johnson. I was just looking it up here. Yeah, that's who I interviewed from this film. Perfect. Okay. The music just hits me all through this music. What a great soundtrack. Because I was born in the 70s, so I remember a lot of this music coming up right from the start to the finish. And talk about working on Atomic Blonde. I think it's a great looking film. It's beautifully shot. Some great fight sequences. I'm going to tell you, I saw this more than once in the theater.
Yeah, well, it was very memorable for me because I got to work with Charlize Theron. She had to speak Russian, and it's one of those actresses that in real life looks just as gorgeous as on screen. So, um, uh, very dedicated and also doing all her own stunts. So I also worked there with oh gosh, what was his name? Miller. He's a Danish actor. He told me he was in prison and he made a movie about prison and he wasn't even an actor and that did so well. And then he did another movie and it just, his career really picked up. Roland Miller.
Roland, I see him here. Yes.
So originally I was hired to work with him because he's also playing Russian. So we had to give him a Russian accent and try to help him speak Russian. And then in one scene, Charlize Theron replies in Russian, so I worked with her as well. And then usually I work with all the stunt guys who want to throw in some Russian curse words.
Yeah. So were you upset that you didn't get to kick ass in it?
No.
No. Did you work any with Sylvia Boutella?
Actually, just recently,
Oh.
I on a film dialect coaching, not her, but she's been here in Budapest again for a film. I can't talk about it though.
That's okay. You don't have to.
It's
I
pre-production.
yeah. Well, I just know that she was in Atomic Blonde, and were were you there when they were like? I know you were uh, the dialect coach, right for Russian for Charlene's, but were you on set when she did any of these stunt fights?
Yes, I was because all the fighters who she was fighting, they were Russians, most of them. So I had to be on set, as I said, just in case they want to say a word in Russian while they're dying, or throw a curse word out, or so basically I was there all the days that the stunt guys were there.
Any stories about that filming?
This is like so long ago.
Oh, I know. I remember the stairwell, definitely. It's like I don't think I would have the energy to do all that. I think I might get through one or two, and then I'd be like, okay, I could check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to see a lot of the stunts, but again, because I'm there for the dialogue, I'm not necessarily where they are doing the stunts. I'm like, I have some earphones on, like you right now.
Yeah.
And then if I hear that something really sounds bad, I walk in, but otherwise I also just watch it from the screen. Like, so I'm not like seeing it live most of the time.
Okay. Was there any stunts that you did see that were just incredibly impressive to witness?
Really, I did see a stunt where one of the guys gets killed and he like rolls down the staircase. But I didn't see any of Charlize's.
Well, you also were a Russian translator in Black Widow.
Correct. But that was basically Scarlett Johansson and who plays her sister, Pugh, is it? I always forget.
Lawrence Pugh. Yep.
Yeah, Lawrence Pugh. Yes. So they are actually Russian by heritage. So first they were thinking that they would do the scene in the end with a Russian accent, that they would speak with a Russian accent, and then in the end they would have one Russian sentence. But in the end, they decided just to do it with their own accents. So again, they were only shooting for 2 weeks in Budapest. So I was like literally there for 2 days. And this because they didn't really use that sentence in the end, I was just like hanging out. That was one of those jobs.
Well, you
just in case they want to say something in Russian, just in case, you know.
Well, you know what? It's a great skill to have because I can only speak English, you know, so I admire people that can speak more than one language. How many languages can you speak?
I'm fluent in Russian, Hungarian, and English, and then I can learn dialogue in German because I learned German in school. But there I would have an accent. But every other language I can speak without an accent. Like with obviously, like I can switch to a heavy Russian accent if I want in English because you know. But the 3 languages that I kind of own are Russian, English, and Hungarian.
Wow, I think that's brilliant. Now, I think it's great that you have that skill, you know, because if you don't get cast to be on screen, that is something valuable to have. But would you prefer to have more on-screen roles?
You know, when I was 24 and I went to LA, my dream was just like to make a living as an actress. And that dream came true for me because while I was in LA, I was very lucky. I didn't have to wait tables and, you know, I would always get something. So I would actually be living from my acting. And then when I came back to Budapest, it's just here, we kind of work non-union. So it's not the same money. So even though I'm working the same, it's just, I cannot live just from acting. So that's why I do, and I also really enjoy doing it. You actually get to meet these people. Like I was on a show for 4 months. I was, can't talk about it yet either.
That's okay. That's okay.
The coach of the lead actor. So you create some meaningful relationships as if when you're on a film, and unless of course you're like on a series that you meet your cast every day, you kind of like worked with them. You can say you worked with them and that's it. So dialect coaching in that way is more personal because you meet with them one-on-one, you spend time together. I really enjoy it. And I also do choreography because of my dance background. So like on the Canadian show, The D4, I did the choreography there because they shot 1 episode in Budapest. So yeah.
Another skill I actually did not know about that one. The
Yeah.
fact that you knew how to dance.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I was a professional ballerina. Like I danced at the Opera House.
That's right.
So
You
it's
did
like,
mention that. That's right. You did
yes.
mention that. Okay. And of course you did it for that, but do you keep up with it? Is it like still a passion of yours?
I like to do a ballet class as my gym. So I enjoy dancing. But you know, your life really changes once you have children. So,
You
so
know
I do
what?
it when I
I've interviewed
do it. I can still
yeah. I've interviewed Antonia Franceschi, who was in Fame, like the
okay.
1980 film Fame, and
Yeah.
she's and she still does ballet. She teaches ballet in I believe New York, but she lived for a long time in the UK. So you got me kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't really enjoy the teaching part of ballet. I did have what I do like doing is if the dancer is professional and is already a grown dancer, so it's not kindergarten.
Exactly.
Like compare them to ballet competitions, stuff like that, I enjoy doing when you can really put the art and the technique into somebody who's already ready and really wants to do it. I don't handle well, stand by the bar, don't talk. And that's a lot of that until they're like 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not for me. I have my own kids for that.
Yeah. Are they gonna?
Are very talented actors as well, because that's my other job. Is now I'm managing their careers, and
Oh,
they
they're
are
gonna
doing.
follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, but they're really. I mean, I get really good feedback. They're really, really talented. And I can't say much. Uh, but like my daughter just booked a cast number 9 in a big project that's shooting here. So and my son is gonna have a film come out in actually in Canada, I think. It's a 6 episode series, miniseries about Gary Kasparov.
Okay.
And he plays young Kasparov.
Okay.
So he's actually speaking in Russian, and it's they're really talented. And I'm not saying that because I'm their mom. I just see it.
Oh, come on, they get it from you. You're talented.
I
Look,
don't know. I think
I think you're talented. You can act. I can't. You speak a lot more languages than me. I just speak English in 4 o'clock traffic. And you can dance. I can't do that either. I just injure when I. But uh, going back to Budapest now. We're into the fall of the year here. It's uh balance between cool and warm, nice time of year. I've never been to Budapest. So what's it like there?
I mean, I don't know if you know, but it's like the number 2 most visited cities in the world. It's the architecture is breathtaking. And there's like, I would say from April to October is a very good time to visit. I mean, right now we still have summer weather, which is amazing, but it's rare. So it shouldn't be, but it's very warm. We have Celsius, it's 29 Celsius. So I don't know how much that is in, I think 100, I don't know. I always only knew it in Celsius, but it's just warm summer weather. And there's a very good nightlife. We have really fun bars and just people on the street. And it's just the way there's a river. And from both sides of the river, you have this view, either of the side Buda or Pest, and it's really breathtaking. I just had friends visiting from Italy, and they didn't see most of it, but everyone is in awe.
You want to keep the woman from don't.
Visit time. It's quite far, but
You want to keep the woman from don't breathe away from the fun bars.
yeah.
So winters here are really cold, and sometimes they can be really testy, and they're not easy to drive in. What are your winters like there?
Well, they're supposed to be proper winters. We're supposed to have snow, and it's
Mhm.
supposed to be cold. But with global warming, I guess the past winters weren't that rough.
Mhm.
We maybe had last winter maybe a week of snow max, if I can't remember now really, but it's definitely not the white Christmassy, for sure white Christmas. And it used to be like that.
Mhm.
But now it does get cold, but at night it will go into minuses, but during the day it can get really windy, which makes it very cold. The wind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell me, do you have a web page or or any charities that you want to plug and promote on here?
Oh gosh, no.
I always leave that open. I was going to say upcoming projects, but I know you're tight-lipped about that, and that's okay. But often, if people have a web page or anything like that where people can reach them, they they can plug that. But nope, that's fine. I think you're doing well. I hope your kids succeed in their careers,
Thank
and
you.
I think it's great. You're what 29 now?
Yeah, getting there, getting there. One more year in 29.
That's how I got through school. Was there anything else you'd like to promote on here? Any other stories you want that we haven't touched upon?
No, I think we've touched about on everything.
Well, you know what? I enjoyed these films. I actually got this on 4K right here, and I also have the Blu-ray. So love Atomic Blonde, and I love Don't Breathe. This was a fun film, certified fresh on here. So no, I was really happy to get you on here to talk about this, so we could celebrate it. And I believe this film came out, what was it, 2016, I believe. And I'm like,
It's
wow.
it's one of the first projects I worked on after I moved back to Budapest. So yeah.
It's funny. I don't know where the time goes, you know. Like I was just telling somebody the other day, The Big Lebowski's 25 years old. I saw that in the theater. Where does the time go? You know? I guess it's like they say when you're older, the time just flies. It's when you're growing up and going to school where it goes slow.
I,
But
but when you
yeah.
have the kids and you judge from them, like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ab- I just have a kitty and he's ignoring me and not come. Oh, he's over there asleep. I was hoping he would be cleaning the apartment, but no such luck. Well, I thank you for coming on here today, and I was wondering if before I let you go, if you would mind doing a plug for my show.
And what does that mean?
Just state your name and say that you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
So I say, hello, my name is Katia Bokor, and I'm listening to Greg
Yep,
Gilbert on what paradise?
Python's Paradise. Python like the snake.
Python's paradise.
Yeah, Python's Paradise like the snake. Yep.
Okay. Hello, my name is Katia Bokor, and I am listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Do me a favor. Would you do that in Russian?
Are you kidding? Меня зовут Катя Бокор, и я слушаю Грег Гилберт на Python's Paradise.
I love that.
I went with Planet's Paradise, with the English version. Paradise is, how would we say that?
I wouldn't know.
No, I'm thinking faith, so it's not religious.
Well, I figured, since you knew, I've never asked anybody who's knows other languages before. You're the first one I got to do it in a different language, and I thought I should be testing the rest of my guests on that if they're known for other languages, because I've had people from Italy on here and people from various places. So I think that was cool. You have a great accent, by the way.
Well, thank you. I can do
Absolutely.
two for Hungarian as well.
Oh, do it. Go for it.
Sziasztok! Bokor Kátya vagyok, és Greg Gilbertet hallgatom a Python Paradise című műsorában.
That is awesome. You really let that roll off the tongue.
Yeah, when you live in Budapest, that kind of becomes your strongest language. And then, then there's English, and then Russian, I use the least. So that one, sometimes have to, like, I speak to my kids in Russian, but they started replying in English. So, but they understand. So
there you go. Well, Katia, thank you so much for coming on here today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on here, and I really appreciate your contribution. Like I said, you got many talents. You're on screen and Don't Breathe, and you're a dialect coach and Atomic Blonde, and you also do dance, ballet. So I mean, you got a lot more talent than me, and you know what? I commend that. So there you go.
Thank you.
I'm going to bid you a wonderful day. Enjoy Budapest, and yeah, good luck to everything coming up in your future. And I'm going to keep watch because when you get some stuff out that you're able to talk to, I'd love to have you back.
All right. Okay, let's do that.
Sure, no problem. Absolutely. Take care and God bless.
You too. Take care. Thank you for having me.
No
Bye.
problem. My pleasure and honor.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye.